Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown, Life of a Spiritual Nomad, where we break generational curses and create generational blessings. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back. I tell you, I haven't recorded in a little while. I got the bright idea to upgrade all this technology. So this morning, I took all of that, shoved it in the corner, got the old system out, and we are back up and running. And I have a special guest today. Hey, Tammy.
Hello, Wes.
How are you?
I am wonderful.
Good. Thank you for coming. Tammy Keefer, right?
That's correct.
The famous Tammy Keefer from Virginia Beach. You have the best reputation. I tell you what, I've heard your name for probably 18 months. And we just met the other day, right?
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had the opportunity to go to a sound bowl healing that you guys had with Beth.
That's correct.
So what did you guys do that day? What was that called? Do you remember?
I believe that one was called Calling Angels.
Nice.
And so Beth is this wonderful neurosculpting healer and quantum healing facilitator in Virginia Beach. And she has this beautiful studio. And we had met a few years ago when I was teaching yoga at the Soulful Place off of General Booth. And we just sort of hit it off from there. We kind of lost contact with each other, and then somehow the universe just brought us back.
It's funny how that works. Beth is great. She's been on the show a few times. She is a very good friend of mine. I love Beth. I've been to some sound bowl healings and stuff, but what you did, I couldn't lay there. I just had to sit up and watch you create this beautiful music with the gongs and stuff. Talk about that. Tell us, how does that heal people? I don't understand that.
So the gong is this ancient instrument that has just been around for centuries. And it's this powerful instrument that has these, essentially, when you strike the gong, one strike of the gong sends out this vibration. And this vibration is able to penetrate into the body, and it can shake loose anything that has been stagnant or stuck, causing a great release into the body. And it can work energetically as well. So when you're striking the gong multiple times, it's like this undulating effect of multiple ripples of vibrations that are penetrating through the body. It can create this sort of massaging effect, and it's very relaxing. I've heard so many different experiences and anecdotes from people.
Yeah, it was, well, the room was full. I mean, it was a full house. Nobody else could come. And there was me and this other guy. We just kind of looked at each other. We just couldn't. We just had to set up and watch. It was just, I think it was one of the most beautiful things I ever experienced. So thank you. That was cool.
Thank you.
Now you carry dragon energy, right?
Well, I was born on the year of the dragon.
Because as you started talking about the gong, I've seen this energy of this dragon started to come out. It was really powerful.
Oh.
So you're very powerful, that's for sure. When I met you the first time that night, I just walked in the room. You could feel the power, the depth of your energy, and in a very good way. Is just this talented woman standing there, and and if you haven't seen Tammy, you have to go. So what else do you do? I think you do a lot of different things.
I also teach Kundalini yoga at a few studios around town.
Okay. I've heard of Kundalini yoga many times. It seems like all my female clients talk about it. I don't know what that is. Honestly, I don't.
It's a different lineage of yoga that I would say, in my opinion, it's more like a technology, because you're utilizing these tools and techniques to harness this energy that every one of us has. It's known as the Kundalini energy, and it lies dormant at the base of our spine. And think of it as like unlimited, untapped potential energy, pure energy, okay? And we're essentially utilizing tools and techniques to activate this energy, to wake it up, and almost like a hydraulic system to bring it up and allow it to rise and allow it to emanate through the body, fill up the auric field. And when I say tools and techniques, we're using components such as the breath which carries the prana, the life force energy. We're utilizing mantra, which is our own sound current. The sound current carries the energy to move. We're utilizing the eye placement, eye focus, and meditation and movement. And we're doing this all simultaneously to create this mechanism to move the energy up.
I was at this session, I don't know, a couple years ago, and the lady had me visualize like a light in my lower spine and bring it up my spine back and forth. Is that what it is? Is that something, a connection to the Kundalini energy?
Yes.
Okay. It was interesting to feel going up and down my spine. It was something I never experienced before. So, So when you release that, does that just like help you heal things? Does it help you just become more? Does it raise your vibration? What does it do?
For me, I can say that it creates space. It allows space in the subconscious mind. In Kundalini yoga teachings, they believe that we download 1,000 thought patterns in the blink of an eye. And we have these thought patterns, right? And we might latch on to one or two of those thought patterns. And then we'll give that thought pattern a little bit of feeling, and that feeling will become an emotion. And then we give it a little bit of desire. And then we run away with that thought, whatever it is, good or bad. But then what happens to those other 999 other thought forms? They have to go somewhere. So they just get stored into our subconscious mind.
Okay.
So if you can imagine, that's a pretty crowded place, the subconscious mind.
Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're essentially, it's like going into the attic and clearing out some space. Kundalini yoga allows for you to clear out some of that space, to give you some room, and it just allows you to sit back and have this extra room so that you can fill it with new energy. So that gives you more awareness.
I like it. I like it. I don't know. That's just interesting to me. It's funny. I started this healing journey. I did my Reiki Master Trainer certification through the Wellness Center, and then Margaret taught me my quantum work. Then I trained under Sandra Grace Brooks for a while before she went to heaven. And I haven't done much else. I just stayed in that realm. And most of the work that I do, the healing work I do, I don't know. It's not that I don't know what I'm doing. I just don't know how I learned what I'm doing. And so this last year, as I'm meeting all these healers, one of the coolest things is I get some of the most powerful women on the planet sit in that chair right there, including you, and tell their stories. I'm learning all these new things. I'm like, man, there's some things that I need to plug into. I feel like I've kept myself sheltered a little bit, and I did that on purpose, but now it's time to start learning other things. In a couple weeks, I'm taking NLP training.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the neuro-linguistics programming training to help people remove limiting beliefs. So I'm excited about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's very exciting.
Do you know Megan Blacksmith? Do you know Megan? She teaches that.
I don't know if I do.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Her husband Nate's a former Marine too, and so we're kind of buddies. And you were in service, right?
I was.
Army?
Army.
Yeah. Well, not everybody can be a Marine, but thank you for your service. So what'd you do in the Army?
I was a nuclear biological chemical specialist.
Oh, God, you got the CS gas, huh?
NBC, yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. That was fun. When I was on guard duty in Camp Pendleton, California, as a private in infantry school, they had us guarding the CS building. I'm like, why are we guarding the CS building? There's nothing in here but this brick building, and you go inside, and there's the gas from where we gassed people that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure nobody's going to go in there and steal the bricks. Yeah,
No.
it was fun, but
I remember distinctly going into the gas chamber, and we were all in there. I remember that the guy next to me didn't have a seal on his mask, and he just instantaneously threw up in his mask. And it was
that's awesome.
horrific, but you know what? I was the last person in there. I somehow managed to, it was like the drill sergeants had this contest to see who could stay in there the longest.
Uh-huh.
And they were drilling me in there. They were asking me my first name, my last name, my address, the alphabet, forwards and backwards. And finally, they let me out, and I was running out. And I remember the drill sergeant saying to somebody else, "She's a good one," as I ran smack into a tree because I couldn't see. There's a tree right in front of the exit.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, you messed around with gas the entire time.
In basic training in AIT, but not so much afterward. My first duty station was in Fort Knox, and that was pretty much the place where I was accommodating a bunch of guys about to retire, and I was in charge of a supply room. So I was not doing my job there. I was issuing out toilet paper, Post-it notes, and charcoal for the first sergeant.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a combat water survival instructor. Then I worked at the officers' quarters, almost like their little hotel for a while. So I got to do some of that weird stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice to get away from the regular unit. Was there a defining moment in your life where you said there's something more? For me, there was. I didn't know any of this stuff. I didn't know any of this stuff existed. And at least for me, when somebody said, go find love, go find peace, I was just like, fuck you, man. You know, just, I'm a Marine. Our pieces, we're going to kill everybody and let God sort it out. I was so angry, so broken, so disconnected, didn't know where to go. For me, the church was uncomfortable because all they did was tell me I didn't fit in. You go to the therapist, all they wanted to do was ask, hey, how are you feeling today? I'm like, well, I don't feel great, or I wouldn't be here. And it wasn't until somebody said that life happens for you and not to you, and that was different. And I remember it was like a fish grabbing a hook, and I'm like, I'm going to chase whatever that is.
There were a couple of modalities that I dabbled in here and there. My husband and I remember us pursuing something called the Silva method, which was a remote viewing and a lot of visualization. And we took a workshop course probably back in 2005.
Oh, that's cool.
And at the time, though, I felt like I felt it like it was novel. You know, I was not awakened, if you will. Actually, that was probably during a very dark time in my life. And I would say when we eventually moved to Charlottesville, Virginia, and I think that we were probably in Charlottesville at that time, I started taking yoga. It was Bikram yoga. That was the first yoga that I had pursued. And it wasn't for the spiritual reasons. It was, let's be real, it was more of the aesthetic, the performance.
Sure.
I was very athletic, and I was also training in Muay Thai at the time. So I was looking for something to supplement, and some of my girlfriends were taking Bikram yoga, and they were telling me how fantastic it was and how tough it was. And at that time, I was all about things that were tough, things that were hard, because I felt like I had to be this tough person
Yeah.
because I felt so little at the time. I had a lot of self-loathing, a lot of inner demons that were going on. So I just felt like if I could do more, then I would be more.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you're normal. You're just like everybody else.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in my first class, I remember we were doing some of the asanas, and I think about 30 minutes into it, I'm wondering to myself, why the fuck am I here? This is horrible. And managed to get through it. And after the 90 minutes, and we're laying there in Shavasana, and the teacher had passed out these cold little wet lavender infused towels for us to put over our faces. And I was laying there in that bliss, and then I remembered, oh, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm here. I had never felt this peace before. And so I came back. I kept coming back. And that started this foray into pursuing yoga. And then I learned that there were many different styles of yoga. So I kind of went through this sort of yoga speed dating where I was just experimenting with different yoga styles. But it wasn't until probably 2016, around that time, that I took my first Kundalini yoga group class. And that there, I felt this shift, this karmic shift in my life. That was the first time when I was doing this Kriya, and I felt that light, that heat that you were talking about, that was traveling up my spine, and it somehow it got lodged into my head. I was wearing this turban at the time, and it felt like my head was exploding, and I broke out into this cold sweat. And it was just this tremendous energy that I had never experienced before. But then the icing on the cake was when we were laying in Shavasana, the teacher played the gong for the deep relaxation. I felt like I had left my body. It felt like every molecule in my body was dancing.
Oh, that's wild. I like that.
It was incredible. I'd never experienced anything like that before, and I knew at that moment something special had happened, and it changed my life. I knew that it was going to be a part of my life, the gong and this yoga. And when I talk about the awareness that I had mentioned earlier, it's not something that just like, pow, it happens. It's something that sort of happens afterward, and maybe even days after. And during that time, maybe I'll preface it a little bit, I had been experiencing a little bit of a tumultuous relationship with my mom. And I was also heavily addicted to drugs. At that time, I was on a lot of different legal medications through a doctor. But when I was in the latter years of my army, I was into some really heavy things. I was injecting myself with meth before my PT classes, just so I could get by and do the exercises, and then I would do it again. before going into work. It was just like a regular occurrence. But when I had gotten out of the military, I discovered that you could go to a doctor. Well, and maybe not every doctor, but I knew of a doctor that you could go to, tell them that you had troubles focusing, and then there you go, there's 20 milligrams of amphetamine salt.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when you go back, they ask you how you're doing. You're like, well, I have a hard time sleeping, and my neck hurts a little bit from the cramping. I realized that was one of the side effects. They're like, oh, okay, well, here you go. Here's some Ambien for your sleep, and here's some Flexerol for your muscles. And so it just kind of spawned from there. So I was on a lot of things by that time.
Well, they first off, I want to say thank you for being vulnerable with that, because I know it's not easy, and I can appreciate and understand. And I remember when I used to doctor shop back in the day, because you can go get whatever you wanted from the guy in the white coat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, within 3 months of me practicing Kundalini yoga practically every day, I weaned myself off of every single drug.
Nice.
And then within a couple years after that, I developed enough awareness and had this space in my heart to realize that my mom was doing the best that she could with the resources she had. And I was able to sit with her and have a real conversation with her for the first time in years. And we mended our relationship. We mended it just a few months before she passed away.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm sorry you
Yes.
lost your mom, but it's beautiful that you fixed that,
Yes.
that you were able to go through that. That's interesting.
It is. It's fascinating how the universe, God, the source, what have you, how it shows you the path. It takes you on the path, and you go exactly where it is that you need to go.
I think the answer to that is in order to just go, just to be. I always say I'm becoming more. I don't know what even that means, but I'm just
Yes.
becoming more. I think we're spiritual beings in a human body. And I seen something on Facebook the other day. Social media just, it's the devil at some level, but the person said, what's your favorite way to disconnect from life? And I remember looking at that thinking, gosh, I was a master at that, and I'm still a master at it at some level. I found more bliss, more disconnection from my pain. I mean, because let's be honest, that's what you're in my mind, that's what I wanted to disconnect from the pain. So you take the pills, or you date the girl, or whatever you're going to do. You're going to be in the fight. And that would be that distraction. Learning how to go within myself and quieting this dump truck in my head is where I got the most peace. Do you know Lakota?
I know of her. I have friends who are in her circle.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to her mountain after my second back surgery. God, this was probably 6 years ago. I'd had 2 back surgeries that year, and it reactivated my addiction to prescription pain pills. And at the end of the day, the doctor knew about it, but just even trying to tell the doctor, hey, this is a danger zone for me, doesn't take you out of the danger zone. And the reality is I was back into full addiction, and I went up there on my hands and knees and just begging God to take it away. And I don't know at what point it was taken away. It just was gone. I came down off the mountain 3 days later. I went in crawling out of my skin, detoxing, and I walked out of there. Not only did I walk out feeling great, but I had no pain, no back pain, no knee pain. And when you're coming down that mountain, it's a little bit of a walk. And I carried everybody's gear down. And it wasn't until like 2 days after that I realized I wasn't even in pain. Everything was taken from me. I don't know if that was God. I don't know if that was me. I mean, I think it was God. I don't even know what that was. I just remember being on my hands and knees, crying and screaming to take this away from me. And he did. It was just gone. But I don't remember it leaving. If that sounds weird to me, but your story is a miracle. You see miracles doing this all the time. I think when we surrender is when the miracle happens.
Yeah. I think you're right.
It sounds like we have similar paths. So coming out of the military for me, I was just looking for a way to kill myself. My best friend at the time was the largest cocaine dealer on the East Coast. So those are the friends I have or had. They're either dead or in prison or have gotten caught by the police and doing like real work and have families and stuff these days. But that was the realm I was in. And then I found out my little girl was coming and I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy. So I knew I had a job to do. And God has placed things in front of me over and over and over to save my ass. And these days, it's just gotten to the point where I can just sit down and be quiet with myself and pray and be vulnerable and ask for what I'm asking for. But I do it with no expectations, and I work really hard to let the anger go, and all of a sudden it's there. Every single time. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So I want to ask you this question. I think this is a hard question. So you've clearly done lots of hard work. You've done the work. And we started this interview off, and I'm telling you how powerful you are and the experiences that I had being in your presence and that radiates in this, I call it the hippie community, but this community we have is pretty small, and you have this beautiful reputation. How does that affect you when you hear that? Because I know for me, even now, I seen one of my clients yesterday, and she ran up and gave me a hug, almost like I was this TV star type person. And I remember being so humbled by it. And there was still a piece of me that didn't feel worthy. How do you feel when people say those things to you? Or are you able to receive that now and feel good about that? Or does that mess with you still? Or has it ever messed with you like it did me?
It feels good. I'm able to receive now more than I have before. Only because of knowing where I have been and knowing how I am more at peace with myself today. It's like this practice had opened up a portal inside of me, and all I want to do is to share this with everybody, because I know that this technology, and there's other modalities that are out there, can help so many people. It's one of the reasons why I was very happy to be a part of this show, so that I could help spread the word.
No. Oh, that's cool. Well, I've been excited about you coming on the show. This has been fun.
I would say, though, that me in even just a few years ago, I would say it was more difficult. I was a wedding photographer for a good 25 years with my husband. My husband was a combat photographer in the Navy for 10 years, and then after he got out of the Navy, he immediately fell into weddings, and then I went to work with him soon after, mentoring under him.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we were very well established in the DC and the Charlottesville area, I never quite felt like I owned that title of a professional photographer. And so many times people would come up to us and they would say, "Oh, you're such a great photographer." And that was very hard to receive.
Mm-hmm.
But now when people come up to me, I'm just a person.
Sure. You're a powerful person.
We all have this power, though.
Mm-hmm.
We all have this infinite potential within us.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah. I was talking about the other day being in boot camp in the Marine Corps, and you would see these recruits had, we called it the 1,000-yard stare. There was just something there. It was, or maybe the lack of something, honestly. And wanting to fit in and wanting to be a good Marine and being a tough guy, transitioning into that warrior we agreed to step into and we eagerly wanted to. So I remember me and my buddy sitting there looking at these guys. We'd be like, "Look, he's got the stare. He's got the stare." And I think I put on Facebook this the other day. I said, "I don't look for the stare anymore. I look for well-heeled people." And you're a well-heeled person. And I cry a lot these days.
So do I.
Yeah. But you feel that with you, so that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. I used to cry and feel so ashamed for crying. And even when I was little, my dad, being a former Marine, was very tough. And my mom, who was a survivor, essentially, she lived through the Nagasaki, or she lived in Nagasaki at the time during the Hiroshima bombings. And then her mom died when she was 5 years old. Her father remarried this woman who didn't want the children living in the house. So she was forced to go live on the sweet potato fields where her grandmother lived on this farm. And her oldest sister was able to stay with the parents, and then her younger sister was put into an orphanage. And that's another incredible story in itself. But needless to say, she had a very tough life.
Mm-hmm.
My dad grew up in rural Alabama, Roll Tide, and had a really rough upbringing, and he did 3 tours in Vietnam. And so they adopted me, by the way. And growing up, I was a very sensitive child, very sensitive. I felt things, seen things, but I think a lot of that had gone away over time. But I was sensitive in that I did cry a lot. I felt, and I was often told, like, I shouldn't cry. Don't cry. If I got in trouble, I would just cry out of shame and guilt. And they were like, "Don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about," kind of thing.
I remember that in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I kind of grew up thinking like it was you shouldn't cry.
Mm-hmm.
Crying was deemed as very bad. And so and yet I always felt, I always just saw these moments in life. Whether they were happy or joyous, or one of those "what would you do" kind of moments you see, and then you just like break out into tears. And or even just watching like some dumb AT&T commercial where they're like, "They're so far away."
Yeah. We had the same in my house, because you're a man, you're not supposed to cry. And my dad would tell me all the time, "You need to grow thick skin." And when I came to the reality, like you said, your mom did the best she could with the tools that she had. My parents did the best they could with the tools that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it's the pain leaving my body. In the Marine Corps, that was when you felt that pain, that was the weakness leaving your body. Well, I'm not fucking weak. When I look at things differently, I feel better. But, even at the level of the work I do now, I still get caught up in my head. I try not to do as much of that as I used to in the past.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to say, I appreciated the healing session you guys did. There was a lot of guys there. I just want to say thank you because we felt welcome. It was really cool.
Oh,
It was really
yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
I like to feel comfortable when I'm there, and I've always felt comfortable with Beth. Beth is so damn funny. I love her. And she's so analytical with everything. I always tease. I was like, I don't have to read it because you're the smartest person I know. You'll
Yeah.
just tell me. So if people wanted to connect with you, because first off, I want to say we've got the best listeners. We're in over 100 countries. Usually our good friends in France pick up the episodes right away. Then, of course, we're pretty popular in Virginia area all the way into Russia. So if somebody wanted to connect with you, how do they find you? How do they come to see your stuff? How do they connect with you?
I'm on Instagram. My handle is at Tammy Keefer, and that's TammyKeefer. And I typically pin my first post, and that will usually contain all of my monthly events.
Nice. That's cool. Well, I am looking forward to it. So is there anything you wanted to tell our listeners?
Just keep living with grace and love, and that the cosmos will clear the path.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always say something's going to happen. I don't know what the hell it's going to be. Thank you for listening to the show. And Tammy, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing the things that you've gone through in your life. I teased earlier that you're normal. You're just like everybody else. I think we all have something, and it takes courage to share that because somebody on the show has experienced something similar and might not be able to say the words. And I think when we say the words for them, it shows them that they're not alone because they're not alone. I tell people I love them a lot. And in my family, that was always easy to say because mom and dad encouraged us to do that. And I think a lot of people look at that as, I want you. It's not that we want you. It's the light in me recognizes the light in you. I just want to tell everybody, if you haven't heard it today, we love you. We appreciate you being on the show. And thanks for coming on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll see you soon. Hey, everybody, I will be back on a regular, consistent basis, I promise, and I'll see you real soon.